Greetings and welcome.
Salutations.
Welcome to Wonderknight. I'm so glad you're here. Man, this is going to be a great episode. I'm already excited for it. My friends, today I am joined by Vincent Elektra, not only a dear friend of mine, but also a lifestyle and professional dominatrix, a BDSM educator, and a content creator.
Allegedly. I'm really good at, well, I make it. Do I post it? The world may never know.
That's the real struggle. That's the real struggle. Not going to lie. I don't know how many artists I know who we have oodles and oodles of sketches and possibilities and potentials, and we'll post 1 out of 1,000. And then also still be mad that we posted that one.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'll just hoard it all, and then one day I'll release it as a mountain of what? No, just put out the content.
Just gotta put it out. Just gotta put it out. Every episode that comes through, every piece that you're working on, just gotta let it out there. I'm definitely working on getting more episodes and content out, and this show has definitely been one of my most proud moments, I will say. So very happy to be doing it. I'm glad to have you here, Vincent Elektra.
Woo. I absolutely love that. Yeah, I was so excited when I saw you started a podcast.
Yes.
I feel like, yours is the type of voice that we need to have in the podcast space.
Thank you.
I think also just from watching, because I am a fan of the pod personally. Just from watching, I've learned so many things I never thought about. It's just been such an eclectic mix of people that you've had on and topics that you've discussed and tangents that you've gone on. So
I do. I go out on the tangents.
I'm proud of you. I think you're doing amazing work, sweetie.
I'm really grateful. Thank you. I'm humbled by the guests that I have, and as you said, there's the variety of people I meet. I'm humbled by it because I'm again, to say it, not to make it cliche, but I am grateful for the people that I've gotten to build bonds with, connect with, and just see so many different perspectives of life with. So that, I feel like it naturally is going to progress right into those first 3 things that I said you are happy to claim to be. A lifestyle professional dominatrix, BDSM educator, and a content creator. I got to ask a little bit about the lifestyle and professional dominatrix.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Well, I'll ask, when did you start and how did you get into it then?
So here's the thing about my personal journey with kink is I wouldn't say it's necessarily the most common or, it's kind of just always been there. I very much feel that my life purpose as an individual is tied to kink, but I started acting out kinky situations when I was like 7. And then I started in the lifestyle scene at 18. And then I want to say around 21, 22 is maybe when I went pro.
Dang, okay.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a wild, wonderful journey. I'm a big fan. I don't think I would do anything else as my life.
Now, when you say kink, I'm sure there's plenty of people who everyone's going to have their own preconceived notion of it. What does kink mean to you?
Hoses. We've all got them. Get those kinks.
Oh my God.
Fair. Also fair. All right, now to give a real answer to that question. So kinks are anything that is considered a taboo in society or an abnormal psychosexual practice, whether it is actually tied to sexual fulfillment or whether it's more of a lifestyle or power kind of situation where sex isn't necessarily at the forefront or involved at all, but it's still very much shapes the way a person spends their everyday life or their life within these little pockets.
Yeah, I've definitely heard from plenty of different people that it's like one of the most profound and important aspects of kink is that like sexuality doesn't actually have to be involved every single time. It can more so be involved with just how you present or explore or play with gender, attraction, and romance. Is that kind of something that you have learned or I guess understood as you've explored it?
Yeah, I mean, I have owned consensual slaves that I've had non-sexual bonds with before. I currently own a consensual slave that I have a non-sexual bond with.
The plot.
The thought thickens.
Oh my God.
What else? Sorry, I get very excited when we're talking.
No, you're good. I understand. I'm intrigued because I know that I'm glad that you brought up the taboo like aspect of what kink is and what is considered because like first and foremost, dog, it's America. And so people freak out about a lot of understanding what kink is, how it sounds, what words are used in it, how and where they're used, and how consent matters in it.
Absolutely.
So that I also want to bring up with you, that consensual aspect of it.
Yeah.
Can you bring that up? And some of the like psychology of, we got to talk about it. When you say consensual slave, what does that mean for you in the kink community?
Well, I also think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the very fucked up relationship that the US as a country has with consent. I mean, it was formed without the consent of Native peoples. It broke consensual agreements with its former kingdom. Like, there's so much. There is no consent in the. Maybe not no. There's very little consent in the foundations of the US.
Agreed.
Which I think is why it's even more powerful to pursue consent and even consensual extremes. So as far as consensual slavery and what it means, essentially it means that someone has gone through their lives and found that they view themselves more as a servant, or that they find that they feel most fulfilled when they are in the role, often a constant role of servitude. And I do feel servant would be more accurate than slave at some points, but a lot of self-described slaves for some reason really gravitate towards that. And I also think it's because of the history of slavery in the US. So when I decided to become an owner, I made it a point to understand my own relationship to slavery and how it's benefited me, also just like how it may have affected me culturally. So, of course, there is, educating yourself more than just, grade school education on the history of slavery in this country, especially the continued history of slavery after legally it was expunged, even the current history of slavery through workhouse practices and things of that sort.
Yes.
Yes, the U.S. still has slaves. Sorry, I know I was like, I don't know if we're going to get political.
Listen, when it's not true, when it stops being true, we'll stop talking about it. But listen, if it wasn't important, I wouldn't bring it up every other podcast. But literally, every other time I'm talking to a person, whether it's in the podcast itself, talked about before or after, not that I'm political because, I would never condone being political on your platform. That's so wrong and things, cough, cough, cough. But also, people are knowledgeable. More and more people know about the truth of the country and know how that is impacting the things that they want to do, the goals that they have, the conversations around consent, love, romance, sexuality, the kink, all those conversations.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say they have to be, but they are very dearly affected by how our country dealt with consent, dealt with sexuality, dealt with ownership, dealt with who you give your time, space, and body to. You know, I definitely think that as many people are gonna look at this and go, wait, what? At first, when they hear you say that, like, I need them to really understand, like, the fact that we're even able to explore it at all in a country who, like, made it as grotesque as they could possibly make it.
It's
you know?
wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, it's very, it's interesting to see sometimes the lack of thought and work that people put in who are into that sort of extreme. I feel like if you as an American are engaging in that, or if you as anyone are engaging in that and you're not doing the work to understand how your environment has benefited from slavery, because we all have. It's period. Slavery is ingrained in a lot of the world's evolution, sadly. Not pro-slavery.
Yeah,
well,
a lot of our
consensual
systems,
slavery.
A lot of our systems have definitely been built around it and around taking consent away. And I think that's really, like, frankly, the most important part of what you've been talking about. And it's important that, like, you brought that up because, again, kink is about exploring the taboos, and it's about being able to engage and play in them with people who are also consensually playing in them. Yeah. I cannot stress enough how important that is. Sorry, not trying to take that point away and or talk on it too much while you're talking on it. I just know that people who listen in, a lot of them are not used to that conversation. And
that word even being thrown around. That word is extremely triggering for a lot of Americans.
Agreed.
As far as my personal journey with, like, doing the work on my end, obviously somewhere around the line, like, I definitely feel my family members participated in slavery, but particularly, like, the way that I know that my family participated was, because we're South American, so you know everything about your family.
Yeah, it do be that way.
So specifically, like, my first American ancestors are some guy from, like, the Netherlands who came to fight alongside Simón Bolívar to liberate Venezuela, and then it's hard to say, and then his wife, who was a tribal princess.
That's tough.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool, until my cousins were like, yeah, so cool. Yes. I bet they, it was not. Anyways, on the other side of my family, I am significantly more connected to my indigenous roots. And on that side, I'm Mapuche, which is, I believe in number, currently the largest indigenous group in South America.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We don't get talked about a lot, though, because we successfully resisted colonization period.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, and this was part of that journey of understanding what role I play both in benefiting from from enslaved labor and enjoying consensual slavery, was that the reason my tribe wasn't successfully colonized, there were a couple, but one of them was we had no concept of slavery before the Spanish arrived. So, like, slavery was very common in South America. Like, it was very normal to take a tribe and enslave the captives. But somewhere in Africa
as well.
Yeah, I mean, A lot of places, but my tribe specifically didn't have a concept that you could own another person, only that they could give themselves to you.
Interesting.
So that affects how I personally pursue my consensual slavery, because I only feel that people can be given to me by themselves and we can move forward from that point. But I do not feel that I can like take someone necessarily. Like it still very much has to be given. And I don't think I would have understood that if I hadn't researched how slavery has affected me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important as well, because like just explaining that little bit of a mentality, as many of the people who might be triggered from the first half of the conversation, last I checked, that's like the exact same criteria for how most Christian marriages were expected to work for most of America's history. If you're the wife, you're supposed to give your heart, mind, body, and soul to your partner, your man, who's supposed to lead, conquer, and own basically every aspect of your life. We just allowed women to start voting in the country. And if you can't vote, own land, take up any elite position, so your voice doesn't actually matter in your government, how is that not? How's that not a form of slavery to me? And so I firmly, again, just really, really thank you for bringing up the conversation. And as much as people may be triggered by it, I need them to really just take a bit of historical knowledge and consider what you are saying, why it matters, and how it can be viewed differently, and how it has been treated and viewed differently throughout the world.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who have the conversation of slavery is everywhere. What are you talking about? True. The form of American chattel slavery is very different from how much of the rest of the world viewed slavery or indentured servitude or any which way they may be considering that. Oh my God, the conversation's blessings. I have to ask then, in getting into this, and then, as we said earlier, being a BDSM educator, what is your current muse right now? What currently inspires what you were teaching, how you teach, and the content you're creating?
Okay, so I have more, of a woo-woo answer, and then I have a very literal answer.
Okay.
I just got done with like the Halloween shenanigans, and there was this horror movie that I watched called The Lair of the White Worm.
Okay. I've never heard of this.
First of all, banger film. Stars Hugh Grant and the crotchety newer Doctor Who. And Peter Capaldi. Sorry for describing him that way.
That was tough. Poor guy.
But yeah, it stars them, and essentially Peter Capaldi is like an archaeologist who unearths like this massive skull. And it ends up tied to this like vampire cult in the middle of the like Scottish Highlands.
Okay.
And there's this like woman who lives there who like serves the beast and like brings it bodies and things like that.
Dude.
Yeah, but I first saw a picture of that woman character when I was like a little kid, because my mom was goth. I have a goth mom.
Bless.
And so she had a lot of books around, and one of them was called like Vamps, an illustrated history of female vampirism in media or whatever.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And it had like this picture of this blue lady with these fangs and this whole like thing, and I was like, whoa, I like that. I like that. But I never watched the movie. Because one, I was a child then, and then like you grow up and you forget.
You forget things, man. It's all good.
So like I finally figured out where it was from. I watched the movie. Turns out at the end of the movie, she literally brings out a ceremonial strap-on. I know. God. I was like, this is me in a movie. If they made a movie out of me, she like drowns a man with just her heel. It's great.
We love the content.
You
We
would
love the
literally
content.
love this.
Yeah. I'll be watching this later. Don't worry. We'll speak of this after.
Yeah, and then the less physical inspiration is I recently moved to Chicago.
Yeah.
And seeing the way that Chicagoans come together, even greater Illinoisans. I don't know what you call people from Illinois.
Illinoisans?
Greater people from Illinois coming together during a lot of government intervention, unnecessary government intervention, I would say.
True, possible.
As well as like, while going so hard against all of these frankly massive political powers, the people of Chicago are still partying.
Yes, which we've been seeing plenty pictures of. They're absolutely still partying while also resisting, and I love them for that.
I love South Florida so much, 305 till I die and everything, but I feel like we don't necessarily have the same fire to organize. There can be a very selfish culture around. So it's just like seeing the way people in Chicago stand 10 tones down for each other, especially as like a first gen person in an immigrant family, like that shit is just so inspiring to me. And the fact that they're able to preserve their peace while trying to protect their own. So, I've just been really trying to cultivate a sense of peace, sort of rolling back from hosting as many kink events as I did and doing a lot more introspection, creating comfortable environments so I can sort of affect that in others and give other people a soft place to land, particularly trans people, because as a trans person, I feel like we're one of the most underserved communities in Florida, kind of in the U.S. a little bit. I'm saying.
Arguably, yes, for sure.
Trans rights. No, yeah, but like, because I'm lucky enough to do well in my career or like have like rich white slaves, of course I want to make sure that the peace that I'm cultivating for myself goes beyond me and specifically also affects other trans people. Yeah. That's been my inspiration.
Yeah, I gotta then ask directly how, you mentioned earlier how, the things you're teaching and talking about are directly based off of, your purpose and the purpose you've kind of built up over time. What does that personal purpose look like, and how long in the making has kind of building what your purpose is? How long has that taken you? Or what is it, I should say, and how long has it taken you?
Yeah, I'm a very spiritual person. My family is very spiritual as well, so that helps. But because of that, like, I feel that my spiritual purpose has been built from the day I was born, Okay. I very much feel that like souls come into being intentionally, and just so many things that I did when I was young that like I'm just like, where did you even think of that? Like, why? What drew you? And the way things, I don't know. Yeah, it just, I do feel like my purpose has been building my whole life. Based on a lot of the ascended masters that I work with as guides, I would say that my purpose is to help people tap into their own secrets and vulnerability in a way that's empowering. Because my overall purpose is to heal and help people get to a point of major change, I think. I used to work with wildlife as a vet tech, essentially.
Heck yeah.
And it was very much the same. Like, I've always been very drawn to healing by my guides. Many of them are focused on that transition between life and death.
Yeah.
And I think as a Scorpio, it's very fitting. You know, it all just kind of comes full circle and connects, in my personal opinion. And then with the kink stuff specifically,
yeah, I kind of wanted to ask how
I feel like I was just born that way.
wanting to play and explore in that.
Yeah. So when I was little, I would bully whichever adult men were my favorites. Yeah, I got spoken to many times.
Oh my God. Well, okay,
like
explain.
a lot.
Okay,
oh
keep
God,
going.
it was bad. Yeah, no, I would like physically fuck up these men. Yeah. And like I was 7, so I couldn't do that much. But like I'd do as much as I could. And I do not recommend that. I don't think what I did was ethical or should be, you know, continued or rewarded. But I think this idea that children exist in a vacuum outside of any sort of, not understanding, but knowledge of kink or sex, I feel like it's unrealistic. I think you see in a lot of countries that children who are just educated factually when they ask questions don't really see as much taboo around it because, like,
it's
whatever, everyone does it. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Which is honestly the energy I think we should have towards a lot of things.
Yeah, I saw with like, frankly, my mom's side of the family, like, they're Jamaican, and like, to Jamaicans, like, no, they talk about the fact that it exists significantly earlier than they do in America. In America, it's this weird, scary, taboo thing until you're like a full-grown adult, and then the jokes turn into ball and chain. I guess, you know, so
birds and bees. So you're like, where is this?
I have no idea.
Coming from. I never actually got the birds and bees talk, so I've always wondered what it is that the birds and the bees do, because like birds and bees cannot mate. So
I've been curious all my life about that, as well as like I got like the conversation on like, hey, be safe, not dumb, and understand what sexuality is. But then I kept hearing that birds and bees is what that talk is called. And I've never really known why it's called that.
No, I think they literally used to use a story about birds and bees. Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. Like they would, like, I don't know if the bird was the guy or if the bee was the guy, but they would like use it as a way to like.
I'm startled, y'all. I'm startled. I'm not going to lie.
Teach kids about heterosexual sex. I don't know. I just got like a very scientifically based conversation.
I as well. Like, that was helpful for me to actually just know the science and anatomy of the situation. And it became significantly more normalized to actually talk about and discuss it. And like, again, I will just forever say that you go back 2, 3, 4, 5, 800 years and like, yeah, like most cultures expected kids who are like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old to like know what this was about, fight for their country, and like die or build for their country. So
yeah,
this has actually been a thing we've talked about for a long time, where we at least need to learn what it is. The more that kids actually know what the heck it is, the more that they're not going to be taken advantage of by people who do know what it is. And I think that's also integral about it, is like when you actually know about sexuality, you know about these things, then there's less of the chance that there's this scary, all right, well, let's go explore it secretly.
Absolutely.
Let's go try and do it without telling anyone. Let's go try and see what it's about. And no one knows that I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
That's when danger happens.
Absolutely. I had friends who growing up were like survivors of older sexual predators. And like, I would of course try to talk to them and talk them out of it. But a lot of the time they didn't see it as them doing anything wrong, because you're being groomed by the predator, and then you're also unable to talk to other adults about it.
Exactly.
And we already put so much expectation on children in this country. I mean, the amount of meets and competitions and etc. that high schoolers go through, in addition to
still figuring out their grades and whatnot,
and being expected to do all that and know exactly what they want to do in life as soon as they get out. It's an incredible amount of expectation, and particularly in states of like Florida, I feel like we fail them on education.
I agree. I've thought that for a while, that we were really failing our kids on education. I've been feeling that since I was in high school. I've been feeling that we've been feeling our realistically, we have not been doing well on teaching them social skills, critical thinking skills, trade skills. Yeah, literally, we were talking about this a couple podcasts ago with Savannah, and she was saying the exact same thing. Like, we're not teaching them these critical thinking skills, and they're growing up not even knowing why they need to know language, not knowing why they need to care how to write sentences or care how conversation works. And I'm like, they don't care how sentences work, but their whole life is spent on the phone trying to communicate with each other.
Right.
How well are they actually communicating with each other if they don't know how a sentence works? And what information are they giving and receiving? And do they even understand what information they're giving and receiving?
Right.
That's what worries me about it as well.
Absolutely. Especially in places like Florida, where education means the difference between, being able to live a functional life or living a life in and out of jail. Honestly, a lot of Floridians are put on a path to incarceration. A lot of the people I grew up with or hung around when I was younger ended up incarcerated. And once you get incarcerated once, and it's an incredibly slippery slope. It's meant to be a losing game. So once you start the game, you've already lost. Absolutely. So I don't know. I think education is so important. Sexual education especially.
Imagine that's why you said you are a BDSM educator. Because you see this importance to it. Please elaborate a little bit about it.
Well, I just think, we don't need to teach kids about BDSM, but we do need to teach them foundational skills of BDSM, like consent or sexual communication, also just radical acceptance of self and others. There's a joke in fetish communities of don't kink shame, or I'm not kink shaming, I'm kink asking why. And I think those are really powerful lessons for people to be taught, not necessarily in accordance to kink, but like, if you are starting to explore with someone, you should feel like you can have open conversations about the exploration you're doing. Otherwise, like, it just leaves too much up to interpretation in a way that can hurt both you and whoever it is you're playing with.
I've heard dozens of times from dozens of people, consent is sexy. And it really, really helps in the kink community. We can actually communicate, frankly, every single second and aspect of what you're feeling while you're going through it. I would rather a person talk my ear off throughout the entire process than just stay quiet. That's weird to me. Like, I do not prefer that in any way, shape, or form. Please tell me every little second of what's happening, how you're feeling, what you actually prefer, why you prefer that, the foundations of why you prefer that. Like, I'm here to talk about it, because then we have a more intimate moment. Then we're actually able to connect on why these moments are happening and why they're satisfying in the end.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. This naturally segues into it. What type of influences on society do you kind of imagine your impact to be, especially when you're now becoming a content creator and going through being an educator of the kink community, of BDSM, of being a dominatrix?
Well, I would like a cult. But I don't expect it right away. I'm willing to wait. um,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
no, I've always said like the two all-time goals of my career, especially because so much of my career is just like the way I live my life. Cult and shadow government. I feel like I would run a great shadow government. I'm just saying.
All right,
Hey,
Vincent Illuminati. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Listen, I support the cause. I support the cause. Looking forward to seeing the progress and how the cult comes along. We got you on like publishing if you need, maybe like some nice like aromatherapy soaps and incense.
Oh, I love that.
The rituals y'all got to do. We're here for it.
Yeah,
support the
they'll be
causes.
working very hard for me.
Indeed,
so
support our local
they'll definitely
businesses.
need to relax.
Support our local businesses. I'm dead. So now, what are some? So that the influence.
Those
you
are
want
the
to
more
make.
concrete things that I would like. I think it's just because as a Scorpio, I feel like if everyone just let me work in the shadows, I could fix the entire world. But
I respect it.
But on a more realistic sense, I would just love to feel like one day I can actually leave Florida in a concrete way for like several months or years at a time without but still know that the trans people in Florida are safe. Yeah, and respected.
Yeah,
Oh my God, especially in the kink scene. Honestly, if I could just have trans people be realistically respected in the South Florida kink scene. Not that they're not always respected, but I feel like you said, Florida has a huge lack of education. And I think in the past decade, there's been a lot of miseducation towards or around trans people that has created a lot more tension, aggression towards trans people.
Agreed.
And like statistically, we know that trans people are less likely to commit crimes. They are more likely to be the victim of a crime.
Yeah.
So if I could leave this state and not worry about coming back all the time while still knowing that the trans people in Florida are safe and respected, that would be my ideal. But that's a big ask. So, that'll be a lifetime of work.
Yeah, Florida's still Florida. And,
I know. But I have so much love for Florida as well. I feel like that's my crux, to be a trans person born in Florida that loves Florida.
Yeah.
It's a hard bag. But also, I have a STEM background. The ecology of Florida is unlike
it's insane.
Anywhere else.
Absolutely phenomenal to see and learn about.
We have species that are endemic to the state or even just parts of the state, like we see with key deer. Do you know about key deer?
No, please.
Oh my God.
Teach us, please.
Yeah,
please.
So Florida has mini deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that we have a wild amount of deer actually in central North Florida and some in South Florida, not as much as central North Florida. Please teach me about these key deer.
Yeah, so essentially like you have white-tailed deer, which are the common deer species in North America. And this is a population of white-tailed deer that was separated from the main population for so long that they ended up developing traits that were specific to this group. And so they're called key deer. They live exclusively in the Florida Keys, and they're about the size of a large dog.
Wait, what?
Yes, they were so.
Oh, okay. So you're not kidding about them being like miniature deer.
They are mini deer, and they just live in Florida. Like, Florida has so many cool things.
I've never heard of these key deer before. That's adorable.
The thing that really bugs me about Florida is we have so much potential to be cool.
There's just too many people living back in like the 1890s, man. I'm telling you, like I know we have the potential. We have the diversity for it. We have the freaking Everglades. We have Okeechobee, man. We have all of Central North Florida, West, East, South Coast. Like we have so much potential to really be like, yes, we are the tourist capital of America, but like we could be so much more. We could really be so much more.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a really good point. Like, I feel like the culture is very much centered around the tourist population versus the born and bred population of Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. But also, like you said, the diversity of Florida is insane. I personally consider South Florida an extension of the Caribbean because where else do you find that many Caribbean countries represented?
Yes.
En masse.
Whole hundreds and thousands
whole
of
neighborhoods
each of these groups are all here in South Florida.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like, I feel like it's like a Latino wonderland in some spots of South Florida as well.
I do agree.
I always have to, explain to Latinos who didn't grow up in Florida what it's like. Because, like, I didn't realize I was a minority until I know,
Yes.
until I left the state for like the first time.
Here.
And I was like,
it's a different world.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Everybody speaks Spanish. Yeah. So
I see that as a response from a lot of immigrants whose, years as an immigrant have only been in South Florida. And, that's, again, not trying to be political, but no, it is why we see a lot of immigrants from South Florida who they will not know American history, then sometimes will vote against their own best interest as an immigrant. Specifically because they will, I don't want to say fall for, but they will give into the American dream. You can find money on the streets. We're so wealthy here. There's so much possibility and potential. And we're going to ignore the last 150 years of our country not wanting any of us to have that potential.
Right.
Crap.
We just got to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps.
Like the classic line. And I definitely see that, I don't want to say lack of knowledge, but just the ignorance of American history, very prominent in South Florida.
Well, I mean, like,
and our education system ain't helping it much. So,
and you also have like federal miseducation. So, for example, there was this FBI project. Some of them still exist, but essentially the FBI has made these different like radio broadcasts, like Free Radio Asia. That are just like U.S. propaganda machines. And they made one of those for Cuba. And no one in Cuba would listen to it. And then they had people who escaped from Cuba to Miami reaching out to them like, hey, where do we get more of this?
Oh, no.
Because it validated all of their worst preconceived notions. So of course you want to hear something that tells you were right. What? I love hearing I'm right.
Love hearing that.
So like there has definitely been a miseducation of specific cultures in order to breed that. There's been
even Jamaicans and Haitians, actually, we have a similar thing here where like Jamaicans and Haitians like legitimately had like turf wars and like were not happy about each other.
Honey,
especially in South Florida.
Honey, my high school was 86% black. We had Haitian Flag Day.
Oh, man.
And that was just, you know. Yeah. Standing on my chest because I'm a soul. No, but like you knew every year on that day.
It was going in. Don't mess with them. Listen, let them just
stay out of the way.
It's their school right now.
The Jamaicans would bring their flags, the Haitians would bring their flags, and it was on site.
It was on immediately, yes.
On site fights. Fights all day, every day. You walk away from one fight, you're in another fight.
Yeah. Atlantic, I see you.
I think South Florida politically, educationally has done a really great job of dividing minorities.
Yep.
Damn, what else was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. So my mom has always referred to South Florida as vegetable soup.
The classic, yes.
It's all in there, but it's not touching.
I have hilariously, when I used to work at the Spady Museum, that was also something we said. It's more like a vegetable soup. It's not a melting pot. We are very much so not a melting pot.
Yeah.
Like, people don't come here then just immediately lose their entire culture. That's not how it works. Everyone who comes here very prominently and loudly declares their cultures, and then we all somehow have to live in the same neighborhoods together.
Yep.
While we are still keeping our own flavors and spices and music and art and clothing and holidays, it is very much so more of a vegetable soup than it is a melting pot.
Yeah. And while I think that makes us so much more powerful culturally, we have to get past the hate, the internal hatred that has been sowed among minorities in South Florida very systematically and intentionally.
Oh, yes. That's the point I bring up all the time. During the era of redlining in the country, we directly saw that like Black Americans weren't allowed to like get certain grants and loans, and they were relegated to their own neighborhoods. Well, when immigrants started coming over en masse, they were allowed to get grants and loans, but not in white neighborhoods and areas. So they were able to build up corner stores and gas stations and small delis in Black neighborhoods, while those same Black people weren't allowed to build those same establishments. So we then get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of immigrants seeing Black people deal with poverty, deal with the prison system, deal with violence, deal with the show Cops, deal with being viewed as the problem, stuck in those same systems that cause poverty.
Yeah.
And then, crime raises. That's what happens with poverty. You get more crime. And so you see immigrants then seeing crime in those neighborhoods that they're in, but then going, look, I'm living the American dream. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. Why can't you do the same? While not seeing that immigrants weren't allowed to go into many white communities. They weren't allowed to build in white neighborhoods. So we then weaponize immigrants against blacks against immigrants, let them at each other for several decades. And now today, we see how that's worked. Many immigrants don't know the true history of America, and they are still very much so mad at Black Americans.
Oh, yeah.
You know, down for the culture, down for the music, down for the dance, down for the clothing.
Exactly.
Down for all
to
that.
Look like them.
Down to look like them. Down to get tans to look like them. So mad at their culture still. We'll talk mad trash about
So mad at their
them.
existence.
Mad at their existence. And I bless you for what you're doing. Bless you for how you talk about and teach it. Because again, that mindfulness is just so important to see the historicity of it all and how those systems are still directly affecting us today and how many people are still ignorant of those systems.
Absolutely. And I mean, you see so many Afro-Latino or Afro-Caribbean people who try to distance themselves from being a Black American.
Yep, we see the colorism hitting them hard. And
and I mean, I think it goes beyond colorism of, like you said, them in some cases refusing to see or being very easily led away from the evidence of systemic oppression and the evidence of also just like any time Black people have built up a strong community in the U.S.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you guys know this. Spoiler alert. It gets
destroyed.
Bulldozed. They build Central Park over it.
Bombed, burned, drowned.
They let actually during Asian internment camps, so all these areas and houses went vacant. A lot of Black Americans filled those homes, filled those businesses. I do not know what the right way to address this would have been, but I don't think it's this. Essentially, when they were like, okay, the Asians are cool again, and they released Japanese Americans and other Asian Americans from internment camps, they were basically like, yeah, just take back
the homes,
your
that we took you
your
out of
businesses,
and let people
and
move
so they
into.
just kicked out tons of Black Americans. And I mean, like,
all it does is build more resentment, man. Like,
and it furthers this racist view of history of like, oh, well, Black people can't organize or build anything because where is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where is it?
Where is it? Oh,
Where is it?
man.
Maybe it's under Central Park.
Jesus, literally. So, like, my God, even here in Florida, man, with Rosewood, like, if you look right now at the signs for it, there is just a sign there for Rosewood used to be here. A couple markers of where the old buildings were, but it is just completely wiped off the face of the earth. And if you just never see it and know it's there, then you have no reason to believe that history happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry, I digress. I know that was a huge tangent.
No, I'm always down to talk about that stuff, actually.
Do you have any plans or goals coming up? Any new projects you've been working on or anything?
Yes.
Go ahead. I was gonna say any new servants that you may be finding, talking to, or dealing with as well. I mean, I'm just saying, I got to bring back up, as a dominatrix, are there any plans that build with that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. There are actually a few servants that I'm currently that I'm currently in the process of vetting and just sort of understanding. I also have some people who are just under my care where there isn't like an expectation of something more, but it could.
Okay.
So yeah, I always have a couple extra servants around. It's no big deal. It's no NBD, guys. Listen, I gotta get the like stable of servants good before we build the cult on top.
Of course, yes, the foundation,
the pyramid
for the pyramid. Oh my God. Yo, this is how it begins, my friends. Oh my God. Okay. So let me then ask, as in that vein of thought, what type of play do you get into, or do you like to get into? Do you have any favorite types of kinks or play that you like to get into?
I'm just a regular red-blooded American. I love to peg my husband. I love a foot massage. I love constant servitude. Just like any other
true American.
Red-blooded American.
Oh my God. I respect it. Don't worry. I respect it. We'll have him on another episode and we'll understand the true love of the craft that comes from it.
To be on I would love to be on a podcast with him. He's so funny and so intelligent. But yeah, I'm always very masochistic. Also, having an animal medicine background, I do specialize in a lot of medical play. So I love anything that makes someone bleed. Oops.
My heart and soul.
Yeah, I actually just got back from doing a weekend intensive last month for Order of Indomitus, which is the way of the servant.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll ask about that in another episode. Don't worry. We'll ask about that later.
It's a whole thing. But yeah, I love to play.
Okay.
I feel like it comes from a very childlike part of me. And I love nature play. So anything that brings the natural world in or brings you into the natural world.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I like caning people with rose sticks and things like that.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little.
Okay, some impact play, a little. Okay.
Yeah.
I respect it.
But yeah, lots of heavy impact, lots of heavy bondage, lots of pony carting. Yeah, we can stop there.
Okay, yeah. Okay, question. Yeah, no, we'll leave that one there. Okay, I'll ask questions about that after hours.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
After
all right.
After the pod.
Human pony stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Genital torture. I don't know. Just a little.
My God. My God. The
Yeah.
sprinkle of the
Little
razzle dazzle.
sprinkle.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have more questions after hours. Don't worry.
Lots of pegging. Lots of pegging also.
So I then have to ask, with all that you go through, all that you do, all that you explore, all that you educate on, and all that you play within, around, what is a profound insight that you would like to leave with the audience? What is something that, if you had the world's ear, or if you even could, give a piece of advice for someone who is coming into the scene, who's trying to understand what kink is, how to even get into kink, or even just to understand you a bit more? What is a bit of profound insight you'd like to leave with them?
Yeah. So as far as my profound insight, I would say that my current insight is creating the world you want to live in around you and in your everyday, while also accepting the world that exists outside of you and working to positively impact it, or maybe, just give it a good kick in the ass.
Understandable.
And then to know more about kink and to get in there, I highly recommend making a FetLife. You can find me on there as Goddess Elektra. You can also go to goddesselectra.com. You want to get to know a little more about me. But yeah, I recommend looking for events in your area. And I also really recommend having an anchor friend, either in or outside of the lifestyle, who you can talk to about everything. Because I think sometimes in kink, we're forced into extremes before we're ready, or, things surprise us, things trigger us. And it's always nice to have someone who is outside of that world that you feel can ground you. So yeah, explore safely, take your time with people, vet them. Just do what you can to really understand who a person is before you bring them in. I'm definitely guilty of just being like, everyone come. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But definitely giving them space to find out how they can get into the scene and which way looks best for them and what's most comfortable for them.
Yeah. Also, I have been streaming more, so you can find me on Twitch as Goddess Elektra.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Okay. I have also been streaming a little on TikTok, but I mostly do Twitch.
Sweet.
Twitter a little bit too.
We'll make sure we have the links
Elektra.
for you. Yeah, we'll have the links for you. Excellent. I'm looking forward to that as well. And just seeing the progress on your streams and what content you create, the conversations you have, the information you teach and give. We'll definitely be looking forward to that. And of course, we want everyone to, follow what you do, support what you do. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad I get to call you friend.
It's always amazing to be around you.
Thank you.
I'm a diehard fan of both the pod and just you as a person. Little throwback. So I got involved in the Renaissance Fair when I was under 10 years old. And I was told that I could be a Spaniard or a British person, both of which are colonizers, one of which specifically colonized my countries. Anyways.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I still took part. I still had a good time. And then after I had gotten out of it, one day I was walking around the fair and I saw the Ottoman Empire. And it just meant so much to me to see a historically multi-ethnic community represented. And just, yeah, that was really beautiful for me. So when I did see you just out in the world the first time, I was like, oh my God, it's him. Yeah. So I adore you. I adore all the things you do. I think you do such a good job of spreading a message of kindness, but low tolerance for bullshit.
I swear I'm not political. I swear.
No, never.
I swear. Just kind. And we don't like Nazis. But yes, thank you for joining us here, Vincent Elektra. Thank you so much for joining us on Wonderknight. This has been an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you got to inspire some people. My friends, thank you. This has been Wonderknight.